Hey guys, Hello1 here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be working on this thing. This is a Lionel ZWL that is filthy, but I kind of know what position this is. I got this, I guess the equivalent of sight unseen. There's a guy that sent it to me, and says that it may have issues, it may not have issues, it does have issues, I'll get to them later. But he also sent me some of the stuff to fix it. So yeah, that's going to be today's project. So yeah, I tested this briefly before, and what it seems like happens is the large handle on the red side works, the small handle on the red side works, the small handle on the green side works, but the big handle on the green side does not. And I'm going to have to change the camera position so that you guys can actually see the gauges up here. I'll show you what gave me that initial impression, and then we're going to take my multimeter here and we're actually going to probe out the pins on the back and see what we're actually getting as an output. So I'm actually going to turn off the lights so that you guys can better see the gauges up front. There's a power switch up here. It is in conventional mode, makes a nice humming sound that I never heard before. This light looks very blue. In person and on the camera, so that's fun. This thing's really big, by the way. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm pretty sure these lenses are the same size as a typical ZW, and they look tiny on this thing. It's enormous. So anyway, up here we got a voltmeter, an amp meter, a voltmeter, and an amp meter, and the way that it works is it seems like whichever one you power up first is the one that gets shown on the voltmeter and the amp meter. And then the second one is just kind of, it does whatever it does, and that goes for both sides. So you can tell right off the bat, I'm missing the light in the amp meter on the green side here, but I've got it for the other three. So let me zoom in a little bit and play with this so that you guys can actually see the lights, but yeah. Okay, so you can see the gauges here. If I power up the large handle on the red side, you can see the voltmeter goes up. Power back down. Obviously the amp meter is not going to move because, you know, there's no current. Small side does the same thing, and now that's new. I don't remember it doing that. Okay, so large handle, small handle doesn't register. We'll test if it works with the multimeter later. Small handle on the green side does the thing. Big handle on the green side, nada. And now the small handle's working on that side, and then it shuts off again. Interesting. Okay. That's the current state. Let's put the multimeter on the back, and I can turn the lights back on, and we'll see what this is actually giving for an output. Alright, let's see what we got here. So if I pull up the large red handle, oh yeah, that's working just fine. Let's check small red handle. It's also working just fine and holding, and it's independent of the other boards. That's the other handle, so that's good. Does this do the same thing the CW80 does, where it just jumps? Yeah, it just jumps to 5 volts. Okay. Small green handle on this side. Yes, that works good. And then the big mystery. Oh. Okay, so the potentiometer is, there's potentiometers on the inside of this, and that's what tells the circuits on the inside how much voltage to output. I'm guessing this one is stuck in the wide open throttle position. So, all right, cool. I think these are the circuit breakers. Yeah, these are the breakers. I guess the next step here is to take this thing apart and see what we got on the inside. You can see the switches that are here on the back. 1 channel, 4 channel, that's if you want the entire ZW to be controlled by one, like track 1. or if you want each handle to be controlled by tracks 1 through 4. Conventional and command mode. This is what basically enables you to hook up a legacy command base, I think, or a TMCC command base. I think these listen to both. And you can control track power using the either cab 1L, cab 1, or cab 2, or I think the base 3 also talks to this, which is kind of nice. And then the run program, because yes, run and program. So you can adjust some stuff on this thing. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get into this thing. It was funny, I was going to take this apart, and I'm looking at these, and it's just like, oh yeah, they're just Phillips head screws, just like a traditional ZW. They're not. There's a stub in the middle to prevent you from just taking a screwdriver to this and opening it up. So you need a special bit. I do not have the 4-sided special bit, but I do have a 2-sided one. So let's see if we can back you guys up a little bit from the table so that I'm not constantly rocking the camera. Yeah, so I'll have to show you when I'm not on my wide angle mode because this thing's enormous. But yeah, they got a little stub in the middle. I was gonna say, when I was first looking at this, I thought it was funny that like the CW80 has these triangular headed security screws, and the ZWL is just Phillips. But nope, they're not just Phillips. Could you probably just drill these out and be okay? Yeah. Oh boy. And then you just replace them with anything else that isn't, you know, a security screw. But there it is. But we are not doing that. We're just gonna reuse. Ooh, why are you binding? You should not be doing that. We're just gonna reuse these because I do have a screwdriver that will take them out. So yeah, all right. So that's that. So am I missing? I'm missing more things. The answer is a firm maybe. Oh boy. Okay, well, I can pull it forward. Let's unhook the gauge cluster, and of course that's not going to be easy, because why would it be? These are not your typical, like, JSTs. These have, like, locks on them? Yeah. Huh. Okay. What else is on here? The antenna. As I knock my cab 1L on the floor. But there you go. We are most of the way in. So there's no way this just... Oh, yep. Yes, they do. They are just spade connectors. The plugs for the main power switch on the front. There we go. That's off. Voila. 110 volt fuse? Okay, sure. Check out the wind there, like the transformer in the bottom there. That's awesome. Let me get you guys in for a closer look here. These are those screws I was talking about. It's got that little pin in the middle, just to prevent you from putting a Phillips bit on there. Thanks, Lionel. Anyway, here's what we're looking at now that we're in here. That is a really big transformer. Here's the bell buttons, the whistle and direction levers, obviously the handles, and you can see the, at least the mechanism for the small red handle in there. There's a spring. Spring is for the whistle and direction. There's a big cooling fan in the back here. I actually don't know if that works. I don't think I heard it, so it's either very quiet or doesn't function. One of those would be ideal. So, and the other one would not, obviously. This is, I think, the radio receiver board. This was hooked up to the antenna, which is there. And then that's for all the gauges. So, yeah. I have questions. Why does that... The large handle controls the inner gear there, and the large handle... Oh, it does control the inner gear. I just didn't see the inner gear. So, theoretically... Yep, there it is. Okay. That's how those work. Neat. So, I guess I'm going to start on this side and see what these do and figure out where this is getting stuck in that position. So I'm going to play around with this for a little bit, and I will come back to you guys when I have a better idea of what is actually happening here. So I'm hooked into the potentiometer right now for the large green handle, and if I drop it all the way down to 0 volts, you can see I'm reading about... It fluctuates wildly, which I think is part of the problem, but like 150 ohms to like 200 ohms. And as I turn it up, first of all, the jump between 180 and like immediately to like 10K is kind of wild. But yeah, as I turn this up, you can see it is doing the thing all the way up to max power, which is like 1.3 to 1.5-ish. Now that's better than it was doing. What it was doing when I first tested this was it was at... Oh, what was it? When it was at 0, it was at about 500 ohms. And at full, like as you were moving it, it was like it was vaguely following what you were doing, but not really. And max power was like 300 and some, or 400 and some kilo ohms. Like it was crazy high. So all I did was I just sat here and I just worked this thing back and forth a bunch, figuring that there's probably some dirt or dust. Just looking at the rest of the ZW. There's probably some stuff in that potentiometer, just getting it a little dirty. So I just sat here and I did this for a while, and that's what gave it the results you just saw. So if we do it some more here, let's see if it gets any better. It's not jumping around nearly as much now. It's just kind of holding at 160. If I stop in the middle, that's a lot more consistent than it was. All the way up to max. And that is, you can tell just between the last shot and this shot that is way more stable, although now it's starting to jump around a bunch. Bring it just a little bit back off full, and it just pins itself at 129.5. Bring it back more and it goes up. That's wrong. Then it starts going back down again. Okay. Yeah, so good possibility that potentiometer is just dirty. By the way, if you're wondering what pins I'm using the yellow pin and the, what is this? The white pin that is the fourth from the left. I don't know which pin is one. But yeah, those are the two pins that go to the potentiometer for this handle. But I'm going to sit here and play with this a little bit more, see if I can clean up anything. I'm also going to test probably this handle because I know this one works, just to see what this gives me as an output. And if that's all it was just dirty, like fantastic. It doesn't fix the fact that the light is out on the one gauge for this handle, but we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, let me continue poking and prodding here and see what we find. Well, this certainly makes things significantly easier. There's two screws on the bottom that if you take them out, the whole thing just slides out. I did have to unhook this gray wire from the main board, but yeah, now this is just its own assembly, and that's going to make it way easier to troubleshoot things. So yeah, I'm just going to go back to playing with this. Yeah, that did not fix the problem. That is... oh well. Also, yeah, the fan's not spinning. So, that's fun. So my guess is that it's probably something to do with this control board, and that's probably why the guy gave me a spare one. So I guess we're swapping that next and seeing what that does. So yeah, that's out now. I'm going to be putting in this one. This one's the spare that the guy gave me with the transformer. It's black, so you know it's better than this one because this one's green. Anyway, yeah, I was doing some examination here, and there's a little bit of like, I don't know, to me that kind of looks like that was getting a little hot. There's nothing really in that area that should get hot, so I don't know. Also, whatever this board actually is, I realized that the reason that it was flopping around is because the pins literally all just sheared off. So that's amazing. I don't know if I have one of those just lying around, so I may have to either jury-rig something together or actually buy a proper header pin set off of DigiKey. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to keep this because I don't know if it's the problem. But the only other board that I have to replace is this board back here, which is the driver board. And that's what controls all like the stuff that goes to the actual thumb screws on the back and everything like that. There's also a LED board theoretically somewhere in here, and I don't know what the LED board is, but it's around, so I'm sure I'll find it at some point. Alright, new board's in. Let's fire it up. And I'm getting 18.9, so it was not the main board. Okay, so I guess that means it's the driver board. So I guess I can take this out since I know that this is doing its thing. And I'll swap in the driver board and we'll see if that fixes it. So I did a little bit of probing, and I don't think the terminal board on the back is going to be the problem, because all it is a straight trace from the connector here that goes to that board straight to the 18 volt actual the wire lug. That's it. So if it is going to be a problem, it's going to be with this board. If it was a problem with that board, I wouldn't be seeing power because like a trace would have failed or something. So I'm going to guess that the issue is either up here or with the potentiometer on this setup. So what I've done is I have put the or I have flipped the center pins from the potentiometers for the large handle and the small handle on the green side. So this is now the A output and this is now the B output, if that makes sense. So I'm going to fire this thing up and we're going to see what this gives me as an output. Theoretically, I should be seeing the output for this handle, which means that this should just behave as this handle would behave if the chip is good. If the potentiometer is the problem, that's what we'll see. And if I go to probe channel B, which is now hooked up to this potentiometer, which is on the big handle, that one will just read 19 volts, and then I know the potentiometer is the problem. If it's a problem with the chip, then it won't matter which way the pins are. It'll always be seeing 19 volts to channel A because that's what the chip is telling the thing to do. So let's fire it up and see where the problem lies. Different time now. Turns out I had left the switches not only in program but also in one channel, which changes the entire way this operates in conventional mode. So that's fixed now. Now let's do it. And I think right now I've got it hooked up on channel A, and that's 18 volts. That changes nothing. That changes nothing. Great. Okay. Let's put that on channel B. And yeah, nope, the potentiometer works just fine. Okay. Very well then. I may have just accidentally stumbled across my problem. So right now, transformer's on. I'm getting 18.7 volts. Or 18.9 volts. I'm going to shut this off. I'm not going to change anything about my configuration, and I'm going to switch this to continuity. There is a direct short from ground to power on terminal A, or on output A. And I checked this, and I can show you. Let's put this on... Let's put it on B. No short. So maybe it is that board after all, that the terminal board. I'm going to probe it real quick on the spare that I have, and if that doesn't short, that's going in here. Build a ZWL kit, coming soon. Yeah, so all of that, I literally had to disassemble the entire thing just to get this board out. There may be a different way to do it that doesn't require you to go this crazy. I couldn't figure it out. So anyway, the next thing I have to do here is I have to unsolder the transformer from the this board here, and that's just all these big globs of solder. So that's going to test my soldering iron. May have to go out and actually get a soldering gun to do that. And then I need to transfer all the studs over, and then it should just be plug and play from there. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna get to doing that, and we'll go from there. So before I get too carried away here, I wanted to check if the short circuit still existed after I got it to this point, and it does not on any of these. So clearly something is awry somewhere else. Which, like, that's good. That means I might not need to replace this. However, I need to figure out where the heck it's going wrong. So, like, I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can figure out where the short originated from. I do know that the circuit breakers are shorted. I say shorted. They're obviously they're not shorted. They are circuit breakers, but like they are they're connected with no resistance. So that's obviously a thing. If one of these trips, it doesn't prevent the thing from short, or it should prevent electricity from getting to the circuit if this trips. So that's not the problem. But yeah, I'm gonna dig around here and see what I can find. Okay, we're back. Had to go over to my friends who had a significantly bigger soldering iron and get these soldered in. But this should work now. It doesn't have the same direct short issue from this tab of the circuit breaker to the common terminal that the old one had, so that's good. So yeah, now we just have to put all this back together and transfer over the actual terminal studs, and then we should be good to test this thing again. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if I got a little too cocky with how much I put back together here. So, power on. Okay. Good start. Don't immediately have 19 volts. Hey. Alright. Okay, now I gotta go down the line and make sure that they all work. Yep, that one's good. That one's good. And that one's good. Alrighty. We are in business. Okay, now that it's all back together, let's see what we got for gauges. Oh, hey. That light came back on. That's kind of nice. Alright, that gauge works. Also, I figured out what it's doing. There's a touch sensor inside of this little handle, and when you touch it, it tells the circuitry to illuminate and show the voltage for that that track. So yeah, that's what it's doing. That's why it was cycling, which is pretty cool. So that works, and that works. Does that light up both the amp? Yeah, it does. Oh man, that's it works! Yay! Okay. Neat. I got the whole thing back together and then realized I forgot to put the radio board back in, so not going to be able to run the Legacy tonight, but that's okay. I'll do that tomorrow. I have an idea on how to fix the pins. I think I've got some boards from electronics kit from school that I can harvest some of these pins off of, and I think they're the right pitch, but we'll find out tomorrow when I actually do that. So for right now, we're just going to test this in conventional, obviously. This engine, I was just talking about this in the comments of a recent video. The comments of my M1 video, I was talking to somebody about the paints and whatnot. So I wanted to get this engine out. It doesn't chuff on the rollers, but that's fine. I'll figure out how to fix that someday. So let's fire this thing up. Buzzed a little bit. Okay. Alright. Okay. I wonder if that's why it jumps to 5 volts. Is because it can sit here with the rail sounds on, but not run the motor. And then when you slowly increase power again, it picks back up. Nice. It works. Ah, that's fantastic. So the original plan didn't really work out, so I improvised, and if that looks really ghetto, it's because it is. Those are LED leads, because these are the blue LEDs from either the CSX or the Santa Fe SD80/75 that I put Blue Nami in, and the leads were just the right size to fit in these pins. So, yeah, it does fit, so I'm going to go install that now. That goes up here. I'm not really going to be able to film it well, but that slots in. And then I got to line up the pins on the front that I can't see. There we go. Yeah, so that's that, I guess. So now we just have to fire this thing back up and see if it works in command mode. I love owner's manuals. Trying to figure out how to program this thing and do first time startup, because I don't know if this has ever been run before. So what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to put the switches on the back into 4-channel, command, and run. And then with the command base plugged in and hooked up to the base terminal on the back, you power up the transformer. Okay. And then switch the run program switch into program with the power on. It's now in program, and then you can set it either engine ID or a track ID. It has a note that version 1.4 legacy system update is required to use track IDs 10 to 95. I am just going to do tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what you're going to do is, once you know what number you want to give it, you're programming the big green handle, your A output. I'm going to do track 1 and set. A little Lionel light flashes, so that tells me that it's taken the command, and it's automatically assigned track 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now I can switch it back into run. And if I do track 1 and I turn up the power here and I turn up the wheel, hey, I got voltage now. And if I turn this power down, does it? Yep, it overrides it. Okay. Now if I do engine 2, 1, yep. Nice. Okay. Track 1 can power that down. I don't know if I have a conventional engine on me to test the track functionality, so that's fun. I can't test, like, the way that it works. You can hit the whistle button and it does the whistle. If you hit the direction, it does the direction. If you hit the bell, it does the bell, etc. But yeah, I don't know if I have a conventional engine, so all my stuff I think is command equipped, except for I have like a post-war engine still that I need to give back to my grandfather, and I have a conventional Camelback. Other than that, everything's command control. So yeah, that's fun. Neat. So I can't show you the top of the box. Here's the Camelback, by the way. The top of the box is adjacent to the project we don't talk about, so I won't show you that. But this is what my boxes look like, if you were wondering. It has, you know, all the little specs and stuff on the side that are specific to the model, and then it's got a a drawing on the other side. And then it's got the thing on the inside. So the foam cutouts are done by me. The box I ordered through U-Printing. Not sponsored. That's just, they're the only company I could find that would do one-off boxes. And then, yeah, everything's, wow, that's cold. Everything's cut so that it all fits nicely, and there's lots of cat fur everywhere because, you know, that's what it's like owning a cat. So, I don't even know. It feels weird saying owning a cat because it's like, it's possessive, but like it's an animal, has feelings. Anyway, that's really deep for trains. Anyway, let's put this on the track and test this out with the command control, since this is conventional only but has sounds. All right. Let's see here. Track 1. Oh yeah.
Engineer, please stand by. Stand forward.
This is the downside of the 5-volt jump. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, I guess the last thing to do here is take this thing downstairs and clean it up because it is filthy. So I'm gonna see what I can do with some soap and water and Windex. I know the posts on the back need to get cleaned, but I want to wire wheel those, and I don't think I have a wire wheel attachment for my Dremel. So I'll have to get one of those at some point. But yeah, let's clean this thing up and see how this looks. And by the way, part of the reason that I think that this thing is like never used is if you look at the top, I can't show you because the camera's on a tripod and the ZW won't move forward, but the Lionel logo up here still has the plastic covering over it that you're supposed to peel off when you get it. So I don't know if this has ever been used. It's filthy, so clearly it was out of the box at some point and sitting somewhere, but I don't know if it ever actually saw service. So yeah, take that as you will. But yeah, let's go clean this thing up and see what I can do here. Okay. Neat. Much cleaner, much better. And yeah, I think it's ready for showtime. So I will be bringing this with me to Tiger Tracks in a week. I'm just running 2 loops of Fast Track this year. I'm not bringing my my whole layout again because, like I said last year, that's a one-time deal. That was a lot of work and a lot of money. So don't really want to do that again until I reconfigure my layout to be more portable. So this will probably be the new power supply for my layout at some point. I'm still going back and forth on if I'm going to use this or the ZWC that my dad had, but I don't see a reason really why either would be better or worse. This can work with TMCC or Legacy, which is nice, but I don't have a base 2, so I can't have TMCC and Legacy running into this thing. If I at some point get a cab 2 or base 2, then yeah, this will probably be what I'm doing with the base 2, which is then has a Y cable that goes into the cab 1 or the base 1. So I can have TMCC and Legacy controlling track power, which can then run conventional engines or command control on the layout. These things are amazing. They're really expensive, but like I am so glad that I have this, and yeah, looking forward to getting some use out of it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all learned something either about the internals of this, how it works, what it's capable of, or how to fix a problem that you're having with your ZWL. Hopefully, it's not that exact problem because that was a pain in the neck, but who knows? So yeah. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. I am CW Hollow One, and have a good day, or maybe good night in your case. See ya.